My name is Neal Brown. I am a triple amputee, bilateral, transtibial, which means both of them below, and partial hand. And I'm left-handed. This is my little bitty rig that I did not build for living in the desert. Built it for something else entirely, but found it suits my purposes pretty well. My YouTube channel is Teardrop RV Travels, and I don't really do vlogs. I just kind of travel around and try and show cool places that I can get to as an amputee. I built my teardrop, and this is technically, I guess, a grasshopper style teardrop because it's got hard corners and it's not rounded. But I built this about 5 years ago because I trained Pedro Sauer Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So I just got a promotion on my belt before I came out here. So I got a promotion in late September, and I'm a 3-stripe blue belt, and I train jiu-jitsu to help me mentally and physically. I get good cardio because obviously I can't run or jog. So I built this so I could go train with the Gracies and go travel to places, and I didn't have to spend $150 a night on a hotel. So I built it from the ground up. Even the trailer came in a box. I had to put the trailer together. So I built it all on 50 watts of solar with all battery operated power tools. But I built it so I could go to a campground, say Atlanta's where I trained a lot, and I can go to a campground and stay for $16 a night versus an Atlanta decent hotel at $150. So the first 2 weeks worth of nights that I stayed in this, it paid for itself. So, you know, as numbers go, you know, it goes up and down when you have a rig. It's never really done. You're always working on it, but it paid for itself. And the first 14 nights that I stayed in it paid for itself. And that was almost 5 years ago. If you look at a lot of manufactured teardrops, what you'll see is you'll open up the galley and the back wall will be completely inset and pushed in. And so what happens is that your feet are actually under the galley where you sleep to give you a full length of sleep. Well, when I built this thing, I just cash flowed it because I'm on a small retirement income and I had to get the deals as I could. So I have these huge windows over here. I got a real good price on the windows, but as you can see, here's the back of my galley, there's the back of my window I couldn't inset. So I didn't figure out that mistake until much later. So to give myself some shelving, I used racks like what you can buy at Lowe's that are, you know, that go on the back door of a cabinet or whatever. I have running water in my sink, and I have a filter too. So I've got running water back here, and I can't speak enough great things about having running water, but running water back here, and then underneath I added all these. I installed one of these last year, a couple of years ago, and liked it so much that I got another one because I don't have to reach in for anything. I can just pull it out, and then my battery's right behind here. I have a 100 amp hour or 104 amp hour Kiko battery, and it's true deep cycle. It's actually made for going underneath powered wheelchairs, so it's made for super deep cycle use, lots and lots of charges, and it's one of the best you can get, and I got such a good deal on it. I got it on eBay. A guy had a big pallet of them for sale, and they were like $100 a piece. You know, for a battery like that, I was like, yeah, but there was no shipping. It's one of those, you know, you get on eBay and you know, you're on one coast and it says pick up only, and it's on the other coast. You're like, won't do me any good. The guy was 45 minutes from me. So I bought two, one for me, one for my brother, and because I installed solar on my brother's got a building, I installed solar for him. So for the solar, my basic setup is I have 200 watts, 100 permanent on top. So there's a 100 watt panel on top, and then I have a fold out set that's 100. So I've got 200 watts going into my charge controller, which is right here. I've got an MPPT Rover charge controller, and then all of my componentry and all my fuses and everything else are way back in the back up here. So my fuse block, and then my inverter is right there. My inverter is only like 200, 400, you know, 200 watts, 400 surge, because I only use it to charge the very few things I can't charge with a USB. So that works out really well for me, and for what I need. This was, I just got this year, or when I came out west, and I got the 100 watt, which was great for me until I got a 12 volt fridge. And I can run a 12 volt fridge on 100 watts and 100 amp hours, but in the dead of night it might get a little sketchy. So I got the second one that I can just plug in, and it's been great. Now when I cook, I have a basic 2-burner stove, and it looks horrible because it's been windy the past few days, so there's dust everywhere. When I use water, when I'm making coffee, I boil it in a tea kettle, and then I make my coffee in a French press. If I have water left over that's hot and I want to take a shower, then I pour the rest of that in here, and I use this, and this is what I shower with. So it's not a very long shower, but it is a shower, and it's hot. Now normally, I have all this set up on a table that connects right over here to the camper, but when the tent's up, I can't use that because I'll burn my tent. But when I have my normal setup, I have a table that goes on the side, and then this just attaches right to the side. So it's great for cooking because I can be right here, come right over to the sink, chopping vegetables or doing whatever. It's not the perfect cooking triangle, but it works pretty well for me. I tried green bottles for a while with this, and they became too expensive. I can't carry a full regular propane bottle around. So I bought the small one that I get refilled. And I will fill that for about $3, and it'll last me about 2 months. And I can pick it up and move it around. And so on the inside of the camper, I have a little buddy heater that takes the green bottles. And so I just fill the bottles up off of this. And it serves my purpose as well. But the inside of the camper is so small, I don't have to actually use the buddy heater. I just have to turn the pilot light on. The pilot light keeps this thing warm. So it was about 65, 70 degrees this morning in here with the pilot light running, and it was what, 32, 33 degrees this morning? It keeps it nice and warm on the inside with just the pilot light. So the awning that is above this tent is an ARB awning. It's connected directly to the top of the camper, and it folds up and rolls up in itself into a bag that runs along the top. This is made for actually going on the sides of SUVs and things like that. So if you're 4x4 and then stop for the day, that's what it's made for. This ARB tent that connects directly to the awning has its own ceiling, has its own floor. It's fully enclosed, but the big doorway you see right here is actually made for, if you put this on the side of your truck, you can get into your truck doors. So I had to modify it a little bit to work with my rig, but this is how I started out, was using this. And then when I figured out that I could just use a windbreak style tarp on the edges and on the sides, I don't use this unless it just gets super cold. But the tent is great for me because I have more privacy. When I put my legs on, I have to take my legs out of the camper, set them on the ground, then put my legs on. And if people are camped really close to me, then the first thing they want to do is just kind of be looky-loos. And everybody's curious, and I know, but it's my legs. Come on, guys. This gives me a little bit of privacy. Plus, in the morning, once the sun hits this thing, it just turns it into an oven. So I have it all open now because it was hot in here earlier. I have a very small 12-volt compressor fridge. I think it's 15 or 17 liters. But it's enough for my purposes. I don't have to buy ice, and that's a life-changing thing when you're out here. I've got it in here right now just because the weather's been so iffy and cold outside. But normally, if I have my regular setup, there's a wall here, and then there's a wall to this side, and then the back is open. And this will sit right next to my wheel well, and then of course my cooktop would be right beside of it. This is an Alpacool, and I paid $160 for it, believe it or not. It's a true 12-volt compressor fridge. I got it on Amazon. It was a damaged box, so usually they're about $215, but the box was damaged, but they said it was still 100% working, so I took a chance on this. This is an off-brand, but with my tight budget, it worked out well for me, and it's very efficient. I could run it off 100 watts, but if I had a couple of days of cloudy weather, then I don't know what would happen. So now that I have the 200 watts, I have no concerns at all. So I have plenty of power to charge everything I've got. Plus run this all the time, and I just use it as a fridge. It does freeze, but I don't keep it that low. So it keeps my bacon and my eggs nice and tasty. The inside of the camper, the sleeping area, is completely filled with mattress. So it is standard 75 inches long, the sleeping box from the front to the back, and it is 46 inches wide. So it's not quite the size of a double bed. Because you could sleep right up against the walls and not fall out of bed, it can sleep 2 people. The whole camper itself is on a 4 foot by 8 foot trailer. So from outside edge to outside edge is 4 feet wide. So the walls are about 1.5 inches, so somewhere around 45, 46 on the inside. And I have a 12 volt TV, and I do have a directional antenna on top, so I have television on the inside. I have a small composting toilet in the very far back corner, because in the middle of the night I'm not putting my legs on if I have an emergency, you know. So I have a small composting toilet on the inside. I have a fantastic fan in the ceiling. I have shelves at the top on both sides, and then I have one cabinet right dead center, and it looks a little odd the way I built the cabinet, but that's because the windows were so big. So if I had done things the right way to begin with when I built this and used smaller windows, the cabinet would go all the way across. But you live and you learn. So I've got a cabinet, and I have 1.5 weeks worth of clothes just in the cabinets, but I wear pretty much t-shirts and shorts all the time, and that's it. So I have on the front wall, I have USB ports and 12 volt plug-ins, and then on the back wall on the side of the cabinet, I have a 110 plug that is connected to my inverter. The inside walls are partially birch beadboard, and I just redid that because when I built it initially, I just used acoustic carpet all around the inside, and that's great, and it makes, the way I built it, it made it easy to cover the walls, but I couldn't hang anything on the walls because the back side of that carpet is just styrofoam. So I added the new walls in, I did the woodwork and put in partial walls so I could hang some stuff. But otherwise, it's a very simple design. My buddy heater hangs on the wall. Like I said, I only have to use the pilot light. So I can get out of that green bottle that's on there right now, I can get 1.5 weeks worth of heat out of it just with the pilot light running. I crack a window, and if you read the literature that comes with the buddy heater, they're made for use on the inside of a home. And all you have to do is have, I think it's 1 inch wide by 8 inches long or so gap for airflow. And if you read the documentation that comes with it, it's completely safe. I've never had an issue with it, but I always keep a window cracked. But you need to, because the buddy heaters put off a lot of moisture. So if you don't crack a window to let some of that moisture out, you're going to wake up with water on the inside of your glass. No doubt. The curtains are handmade by my mother. So she picked out the pattern and said, "Oh, I found this and I'm going to make this for your camper." And I went, okay, it's my mom, so I'll let her do that. And then she also did this. Normally it's very easily seen, but the tent covers it up right now. She tagged my trailer with Mama's middle child. So my mother made me put that on there, or she wasn't going to cook while I was at home. So there it is. So rolling down the road, it's got my logo on one side, and on the other side it says Mama's middle child. But that's the inside. I have a little floating shelf that I use as a table, and that works out really well for me right there where it is. I do everything in here, from if it's cold, I can bathe inside. When I lost my legs, I spent 3 months in the hospital, so I learned how to bathe laying down in a bed. Had to. So if it's super cold out, I can still get clean, take care of everything that I need to inside the camper. My water tank is an ATV sprayer tank, and I catch a lot of flack for this because they say that's a pesticide sprayer, but this pesticide sprayer is coated for potable water. It has the pump built into it, and I bought the entire thing. It's a 9-gallon tank, and I bought it for about 50 bucks brand new, with the pump already built in and all the wiring and everything else already done. So it stays up here, and when I'm parked with the front of my rig to the south, I painted it black, and I have warm water all day. It's a blessing and a curse, because when you want just a quick glass of water and you've been working and it's hot, you want cold water, but it's warm. But really, warm water's nice. I use about a gallon a day. If it's a hard morning and I need an extra pot of coffee, I might go a little more. But I go through about a gallon a day. So with this tank, I can go 9 days. But I carry extra water containers on the truck. So when you're out here, you should always, every time you go to town, you should be getting extra water. I've got 9 gallons here, and then I've got 11 gallons of storage in the back of the truck that when I go to town, I can fill it up. And of course, I can't carry, it's 2 5-gallon containers, but it's too heavy for me to carry. So I have a setup with one of my jugs that I just, I keep it on the bed of the truck, and then I hook a hose into it and turn it on, and then I just let it drain. And if it takes it 20 minutes to drain 5 gallons in there, I didn't have to pick it up and carry it over. If I'm standing still and I put a hand down, I can pick up 5 gallons of water, no problem. But I can't carry it. I just don't have the balance for that. This box, I put this on when I redid the camper. I put on this diamond plate, and this diamond plate is PVC. It actually comes in a roll, 4 feet wide, rolled up, so I just stuck it under my arm and walked out with it. Of course, I paid for it, you know, but it comes on a roll, and it's made out of PVC, and this is a brushed aluminum diamond plate look. So for me, I don't have the tools at home to do a good bend in real diamond plate. So I got this to try it out. It works great. It's easy to use. It's also on the back galley door. So I got this to go along with, because I used to have my battery up front. And with the battery and water up front, I couldn't pick the tongue up of the trailer. I moved the battery to the back and put this box up front, so everything that I use when I don't have the tent up stays in here. So my windbreak walls and things like that, usually if it's not cold and not super windy, I don't use the tent at all, because I like the openness of just having my awning and everything else. So it all stays in here. So all the things that I used to have to carry in a big Rubbermaid container in the back of the truck that I would have to pull out and get out, now everything stays stored in here, and it frees up the back of my truck for other stuff. So this is a water jug that I use. And once again, just like my tank, people are going to look at it and go, well, that's a fuel container. Well, it is a fuel container, but it's never had fuel in it. It's only ever had water, and this is rated for water. There's my hookup for a water hose. I back up to my tank, I set this off here, put the water hose on here, and turn it on, and then it just free flows into the tank. I got this one because it's made for racing fuel or water, other liquids and things like that. It's super tough, so if I drop it, it's not like a regular water jug that's going to bust and split. So, and it can handle floating around in the back of my truck. So I keep my water back here. I do have a little generator that I use upon occasion. It's just one of the Harbor Freight specials. I paid about $100 for it. I have a battery charger on my rig in the back, all hooked up underneath, and so I just pull the cord out of the side, just like if you were going to go to a hookup at Shore Power, and I can plug this in and charge it up if need be. But it's a little 2-cycle generator. I can't set it on the ground and pull start it, because I can't get down far enough. I can't get down far enough to pull start it. So I have to set it on the back of the truck, pull start it, get it started, and then I have to pick it up and put it on the ground. But everything that I have to make sure that I can either get it on the ground and get it back up in the truck. That's the thing. If I'm going to carry it with me, I have to do it without any help, because I'm camped with a lot of people that would help me do anything I wanted, but when I'm by myself camping, I have to make sure that I can do it all on my own. So, and I can't walk around in the desert, so I got an electric bike, and I've upgraded this thing a lot. It's a Razor EcoSmart Metro. You can get one for about $350. Most people that I see rolling around on e-bikes, they spent $2 grand for them. I can't pedal anyway, so I got this, upgraded the batteries, so I've got 12 amp hours of batteries in the case, in the black case down below. I put bigger, fatter tires on it, and changed up the controller. So I have about $500 in this thing, and it'll go about 10 miles. And I can charge it off of my solar system. So I can't walk very far out here in the desert. This thing here gets me around wherever I want to go. So I just can't figure out how to ride it and carry coffee at the same time. So I built it so I could train. So all the places I've been, Louisville, Atlanta, North Carolina, Washington, D.C., I threw stickers on the back of here for places that I'm affiliated with and some of my jiu-jitsu sponsors. I'm sponsored by Deus Fight, which is, they make gis for jiu-jitsu, and ABK Sportswear, and they give me stuff to help go compete because I compete against able-bodied individuals in tournaments. And I don't compete for the thrill of it. I do it just to double check my own training against, an able-bodied person. So anyway, that's why I built this, is so I could travel on the cheap. And I'm from Western Kentucky, and we get really, really cold weather there. It's not like Canada cold or Michigan cold, but we get lots of snow. And at my age, I'm almost 46, and I've done lots of things in my life before I lost my legs and my joints hurt. So I started going to Florida for the winters. And to learn how to do that, I started watching travel channels and people who vanned well and whatnot. And so I went to Florida for the first 2 winters in this, and then I decided to come out west when Jamie from Enigmatic Nomadics called out for the van build last year. So I came out, I brought this 1,700 miles from the house to go help people and bring my tools and help in the desert. And the funny thing is I got out there and they look at me and go, "Oh, a guy with no legs, 5 fingers, what are you here to have done?" Nothing, I'm here to work, and I'm here to install solar and to build beds and do whatnot. So once I got out of here for that, I really I just loved it. There's no humidity out here and it's warm, my joints feel good. So now I'm doing my winters out here. And this is not the best thing to survive out in the desert, so to speak. It's not really survival, it's really enjoyable, but it's really too small. I'm probably going to end up building a slightly larger one. So, I make my coffee right here every morning, and when it's 35 degrees outside and you're making coffee, it's no fun. So I want a rig that I can stand up in and make coffee inside. My next rig will also be self-built, and I do that for a couple of different reasons. Built this to begin with because it's going on 9 years now, I guess, since I lost my legs. So this is only 4 years into losing my legs, and I wanted to know if I could still do things. And I can't stand for very long on my legs and work, so I would literally, while I was building this, I would work for 10 or 15 minutes, sit down for 20 minutes to give my legs a rest, and I would plan my next 15 minutes worth of work. But it's all wood construction, plywood on the outside. I made a lot of mistakes building it the first time because I'm used to home construction, and it's got stud walls and insulation and everything else, but I made mistakes. So this past summer I completely redid the outside except for the back because I didn't want to get rid of my stickers just yet, but I completely redid the roof, new solar on top, and redid the side walls and everything, and made it sealed up and nice and tight. Whereas before, the way I built it, if it had never moved, it'd still be tight. But anyway, you learn from mistakes. Well, my YouTube channel is Teardrop RV Travels, and I do lots of different things. So I just don't travel and camp in the desert. I train jiu-jitsu, I do DIY, ride motorcycles still. I still have a motorcycle at home that I still ride, and it's only got 2 wheels, it's not a trike. So I do these things on my channel because I would like other people out there who are mobility limited like I am. Either they're in a wheelchair or they've lost a limb, or they have CP or whatever else. They don't move as well as they used to. I want them to know that they can still get out and do things. You have to be prepared. You have to make sure that you can carry all your own stuff and take care of yourself. But if you're prepared, you can still come out here and you can enjoy life. Life is not over if you lose a limb or you end up wheelchair bound. And trust, I have buddies that are wheelchair bound because they have SCI, spinal cord injuries, and they travel like this. They train jiu-jitsu like I train, and they do these things. That's what my channel is about. I don't need to show everything that I do, but I show what I do so other people know. So a lot of times if I go visit someplace and I do an episode on my channel of it, I'm talking about if you're in a wheelchair, it's wheelchair accessible. You can go here, you can go here, you can get to the places that you need to and still enjoy what's going on. But you can find me online at teardroprvtravels.com. I am also an author, and I have an Amazon bestseller. It's called Stand Tough, and it's the story of what happened to me and my life afterwards. And it beat Deepak Chopra for 2 days on the list. I was at number 5, he was at number 7. then he went to #1 and I fell off the list. But I was an Amazon bestseller once. So that's where you can find me. Teardrop RV Travels on YouTube. So we'll make sure everything is linked below. If you want to come check me out and see what I'm doing. I am here because I can be and because I found a way. And if you are watching this and you think that you can't get out and do these things, you can. You just have to do it within your limitations. So I did it, you can do it. Get out here and enjoy life. That's exactly why I'm here. So I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying the sunshine a few days after Christmas.